Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our fourth presenter this morning is Ms. Shawn O'Hara, a certified fundraising executive. She has extensive expertise in fundraising strategy, board governance, and management training has been crucial to the success of organizations such as Make-A-Wish Foundation, World Wildlife Fund, academic institutions across the globe. Shawn boasts an extreme diverse client list, so she draws from the broad wealth of knowledge and abundance of real-life experience to develop a dynamic solution for clientele. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Shawn O'Hara on stage.
Thanks very much, RJ. Thank you very much, Dr. Zainel, Laura Reed, and team, the Parasports Organizing Committee. Thank you so much for having us today, and congratulations on a very exciting event for Singapore and a very exciting event for the 3,000 athletes that are downstairs ramping up, getting ready. So I'm not surprised that the fundraising for parasports would empty out a third of the room because, you know, we all hate fundraising. I love it, but I know that most of us don't like fundraising and that fundraising is maybe some of the most challenging and difficult things that we do. But really, when we think about fundraising, really fundraising and the ability to raise money is really a measure or a symbol of the strength we and our organizations have with our natural constituents or our natural audience. And like it or not, everything we do to help persons with disabilities in the area of sports and athletics requires funding of some sort. So if we're going to do it, we might as well do it in a way that makes the most amount of sense, that's the easiest, and perhaps the smartest. So when we think about fundraising, we think about fundraising in three categories. We start with annual gifts, which are gifts that people give us year after year, $25, $35, $50, maybe $100. Capital gifts or major gifts, gifts that make a more significant impact on our organization and on the constituents in our community. And then planned or legacy gifts, those big gifts, the $1 million, $5 million gifts that only happen occasionally. And the trick is really to move the gifts from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid. And that's the thing that we all hate the most. Because in Asia, quite honestly, most of our fundraising happens through galas, through can campaigns or flag campaigns, staff people saying to board members, would you please go make these calls with me? Board members saying to staff people, why don't you get out there and make more calls? It's the thing that we all dread the most, is how to take those annual gifts and move from events and balls and flag campaigns, and move up the pyramid to major gifts. Kind of like this. Ooh, video? There we go.
Brian! Mr. Ford, isn't it?
That's right, yes.
How do you do? I'm a merchant banker.
How do you do, Mr.
I forget my name for the moment, but I am a merchant banker.
I wondered whether you'd like to contribute to the orphan's home.
Well, I don't want to show my hand too early, but actually here at Slater Nazi, we are quite keen to get into orphans, you know, developing market and all that. What sort of sum did you have in mind?
Well, you're a rich man.
Yes, I am. Yes, yes. Very, very rich. Quite phenomenally wealthy, yes, I do earn the most startling quantities of cash, yes. Quite right. You're rather a smart young lad, aren't you? You do with someone like you to feed the pantomime horse. Very smart.
Thank you, sir.
Now, you were saying I'm very, 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 very rich.
So, how about
A pound, yes, I see. Now, this loan would be secured by the...
It's not a loan, sir.
What?
It's not a loan.
Ah.
You get one of these, sir.
It's a bit small for a share certificate, isn't it? Look, I think I better run this over to our legal department. If you could possibly pop back on Friday...
Do you have to do that? Couldn't you just give me the pound?
Yes, but you see, I don't know what it's for.
Well, it's for the orphans.
Yes?
It's a gift.
A what?
A gift.
Oh, a gift! A tax dodge!
No.
I'm awfully sorry, I don't understand. Can you just explain exactly what you want?
Well, I want you to give me a pound, and then I'll go away and give it to the orphans.
Yes?
Well, that's it.
No, I don't follow this at all. I mean, I don't want to seem stupid, but it looks to me as though I'm a pound down on the whole deal.
Oh, yes, you are.
I am. Well, what is my incentive to give you the power?
Well, the incentive is to make the orphans happy.
Happy? You're quite sure you've got this right?
Yes, lots of people give me money.
What, just like that?
Yes.
Must be sick. I don't suppose you could give me a list of their names and addresses.
No, I'll just go up to them in the street and ask.
Good Lord. That's the most exciting new idea I've heard in years. It's so simple, it's brilliant. Well, if that idea of yours isn't worth a pound, I'd like to know what is.
Thank you, sir.
The only trouble is, you gave me the idea before I'd given you the pound. And that's not good business.
Isn't it?
No, I'm afraid it isn't. So, off you go. Nice to do business with you. Anyway.
How many of you feel like when you go to ask someone for money, you're about to get dropped through the floor? You know, fundraising is right up there with fear of public speaking and death. And I think that the thing that we dread the most, especially across Asia, is the dreaded moment where we actually ask someone to make a gift to our organization. Well, the news I have for you is that online giving and online fundraising can actually soften the blow of dropping through the floor and make it a little bit easier for you to raise money in your constituency a little bit more quickly and a little bit less expensively. And many will agree that online giving will fundamentally change the entire landscape of giving over the next 5 years. And I can say that you'll see through my presentation that the numbers are absolutely startling and that you can reach thousands more people than you are right now without spending any additional money by just using simple things like your computer and your handphone. So, but the thing that we need to realize is that online giving and online fundraising isn't that much different than traditional fundraising. It's still about the relationship we have with our constituents and the relationship we have with our current market. It's really not about the latest widgets and the latest gadgets. It's really not about the tools or the technology. It's really about the relationship we have with our natural audience. But I think that the reason people get confused about the widgets and the technology and the tools is the confusion between online giving and online fundraising. So let's look at that more closely. Online giving is the process of communicating, stewarding, and soliciting and receiving payments from our donors. All right? It's things like sending newsletters to your constituents electronically. It's things like sending happy holiday wishes. It's things like sending an email asking people to support your cause or to support your games. And it's allowing prospects to be able to make payments online through your website or through your organization's charity portal. When we think about online fundraising is when we start to think about the strategies around the tools for fundraising. So we think about email appeals, we think about peer-to-peer appeals, we think about Facebook appeals, tweeting, and crowdfunding. But many of you are already doing online fundraising to some extent and don't even realize it. How many of you can accept payments via your website already? Okay, there's one easy place to start. How many of you are emailing appeals to your donors and your constituents? All right, there's a place where some of you have already started to enter the world of online fundraising and online giving. Here's an example that I received just the other day with a client that I work with called Greenpeace, headquartered in their Southeast Asia offices are in Bangkok. Greenpeace sends a mobile appeal. I open up the email. I can make my contribution right there from my phone using the embedded payment system in the Greenpeace mobile app and my electronic wallet. So what we're finding is that technology actually makes it easier and faster for people to make contributions, not more complicated. And this technology is really at your desk right now. It's not that complicated. But when you think about online giving and where people and how people make their gifts, it's even more startling than you would think. 65% of people that are making gifts online are making them through your organization's website. So if you want to enter the digital era in fundraising, the first and most important thing you can do is to make your website capable of accepting online payments through click here or make your donation here. In fact, on every page in your website, there should be an ability for you to click and make a contribution at that moment. 25% of online contributions are coming through portals. Now, these are portals from corporations, from organizations like the National Volunteer and Philanthropy Center here in Singapore, from Simply Giving sites, from other crowdfunding sites. And then 15% are coming from social giving. Those are your tweets and your Facebooks and your crowd campaigns. So really, if you want to enter the digital age in fundraising, you should start with your own website right there at home. The very simplest first step that you can do. Now, we know that the tech-savvy generation, younger people, 20-somethings and below, love online giving. But what the Wired Wealthy study, Convio, did shows that 50%, 51% of wealthy donors also prefer to do their giving online. They don't even want to use a checkbook. And 45 or 46% intend to make even more donations online in the next year. And importantly to you, the contributions that are coming online are 1.5 times larger than contributions that are coming through the mail. The other day, one of my clients called to say that they were having a little bit of a crisis. And I said, well, what was that crisis? They said that they had just received an email from their largest donor saying that the donor no longer was using checkbooks, and could they wire their payment to the organization, because they didn't have the ability to receive contributions through their website. So more and more, just like people don't have landlines in their home, they're not using checkbooks. They're using embedded payments, they're using credit cards, and they're using websites to pay directly to their favorite organizations. All right? We also find that 66% of donors, before making a contribution the first time, visit an organization's website. They find that 42% of email communications influence giving, and 59% are more or somewhat likely to give to an organization if an email is sent with accomplishments of that organization's recent success. So my recommendation is the minute these games are over with, you should all be sending email blasts out to your existing donor constituency and all of your volunteers. And what's more, you should be asking your volunteers and your donors to please forward that email to their friends and to post it on Facebook and to post it to Twitter. All right? 33% are more likely to give if you tell them how their donation is spent. And those individuals are more likely to contribute again if they're thanked within 10 days of giving. These are very easy steps to put your organization smack dab in the center of digital fundraising. It's not nearly as complicated as the technology people want us to think that it is. So when we think about how really important and how really effective is online giving, well, overall giving around the globe grew at 2.5% or 2.1% last year. Online giving grew at 9%. And here in Asia, 11% of the population is going to consider giving online in the next 12 months. So clearly, giving is a little flat around the globe, but the kind of giving that's growing is giving online. Now, what makes online giving work? Trust is a very big piece of it. Sharing campaigns with friends is a huge piece of online giving. Stories that connect the reader to the organization. That means pictures, videos, and really the story of your organization and how it's changing people's lives. The impact and the difference you make, not just on people with physical disabilities, but people who are inspired by those with physical disabilities. All right, it also works because it makes it easier for employers to make matching donations for people. And online giving is more effective if you continually monitor and upgrade your site, your website. Now in Singapore, since half of you are locals, I'll tell you that, that volunteering is difficult because people's sites they're very busy. However, 80 to 90% of the population are donors, whereas the volunteerism rate is only 20 to 30%. But those people who do donate 3 times more than non-volunteers. So if you were trying to do gift projections inside your own organization, and you were to run the data about how much is being contributed by your current volunteer base, Divide by 3, that's what you can expect from your new prospects. All right? There was started in 2009 a web portal called SG Gives, and it was started by the National Volunteer and Philanthropy Center, NVPC. And by 2010, $5 million was being donated through that portal here in Singapore. By 2014, that number had grown to $13.8 million. And NVPC has seen an increase of 20 to 30% in online giving just in Singapore alone since it launched in 2009. In fact, online giving is so popular in Singapore that they've introduced a new site called Giving SG. And Giving SG is the only one-stop platform that does it all in Singapore. Nonprofits, corporations, and individuals can donate, they can volunteer, and they can run campaigns and pledge all on one platform. So it's a portal as well as a crowdfunding site all embedded into one strategy. Anyone can give and pledge on giving.sg. It's a trusted site, and they've got good security measures so people are confident using PayPal or using their credit cards. It offers a platform for nonprofits to run campaigns as well as for individuals to donate and run campaigns. And it allows nonprofits to articulate the difference they can make. It allows you to upload videos as well as pictures. And this is a good example of the kinds of things you can expect from public tools that allow organizations and individuals to start their fundraising efforts. So I encourage you to jump online and have a look at Giving SG. I should also note that they just launched the program on December 1st, which was #GivingTuesday, which is a global movement following Black Friday, Cyber Saturday, and all the Monday, and we get to Tuesday, and it's #GivingTuesday. Right now, there's 30,000 organizations now around the world participating in Giving Tuesday, whereas 5 years ago, Giving Tuesday didn't even exist. All right? You really can't talk about online giving or online fundraising without a discussion around crowdfunding. So probably most of you have heard about crowdfunding from the organization ALS and the Ice Bucket Challenge, where people filled up big buckets of ice water and poured it over their heads, took a video of it, and sent it to their friends. Well, the Ice Bucket Challenge was started by a professional golfer who challenged his sister to do an ice bucket challenge because her husband had ALS. She forwarded the video to her friends, some friends forwarded it to their friends, and 17 million video uploads later, ALS raised $40 million in one summer and had over 10 billion people upload and watch the Ice Bucket Challenge. The ALS people had no idea this was going to happen. It wasn't part of their strategic plan. It wasn't coordinated. It was a 100% viral campaign. So crowdfunding can be a very powerful tool for people. Mass Solution estimates that there are 5 billion crowdfunding campaigns going on right now around the globe. However, only 30% of them are directed at social causes. The rest of them are for people trying to start businesses. For example, a friend of mine is a dentist and invited me into a crowdfunding campaign to help finance her new electric toothbrush, which is a smart toothbrush which knows when to stop brushing because that part of your tooth is clean. So crowdfunding is an interesting opportunity in many sectors. But in our social sector, crowdfunding can be a very powerful way for you to get the word out to your communities about the good things that you can do for people with disability. All right, so in Asia, how can you do a crowdfunding campaign? Well, besides doing a crowdfunding campaign through NVPC, you can go to Give Asia. So Give Asia is headquartered in Kuala Lumpur and has offices in Singapore and in Hong Kong. Give Asia started in 2010 by 2 students at NUS who wanted to make giving fun and easy. A year later, in 2011, they raised $1 million in donations through 3 events, mostly haircutting events in Singapore through Give Singapore. That's $1 million in a year. In 2014, they raised $1.5 million via Give Asia all across the region. And this year, they've kicked off a SG50 campaign to raise $50 million in Singapore for those that are in need. It's an amazingly easy platform, and these organizations charge a percentage of each donation, generally something between 3 and 15%. So NVPC charges 3%. I think Simply Asia charges 4%, and they take that off the top, and the money is directed the money is channeled directly into your organization's bank account. So there's no middleman. You don't have to worry that your money's going to disappear. In the meantime, Simply Asia is doing right now 394 campaigns across Asia for 453 organizations. So I hear a lot, and I heard from Laura and the organizers of the event, that there's not a lot of online giving and online fundraising being done for persons with disabilities, but I can tell you that Give Asia alone is doing campaigns for 453 organizations. So what I would tell you is that especially when you look at the ASEAN countries, they are more technologically advanced than your brethren in North America. And so you're just kind of skipping past the hard part of fundraising, the part where you drop through a hole on the floor, and jumping right into the digital age. And there's another organization that's having the same kind of success, and that's called, Simply Asia is also doing campaigns for the World Wildlife Fund. They're doing campaigns for Make-A-Wish in Malaysia. They raised 30,000 ringgits against a 10,000 ringgit goal. And the Singapore National Paralympic Council looks like they're about to jump into a crowdfunding opportunity, although they haven't posted their campaign yet. Give to Asia is also doing a number of campaigns all across Asia, with 30% of all of the money they do directed specifically at health and human services, which falls right into your category of service. So if you were going to start in the digital fundraising age, where would you start? 10 easy steps. First of all, you need to have an organizational website, and it needs to be a good website. 2, you need to be able to accept contributions online. And as part of that, you need to accept contributions online. 2, you need to have a database that has email addresses as well as telephone numbers so that you can text as well as email. 3rd, you need to identify some organizational needs, what to fund. And the way to do that is to bring some of your current supporters together and have a brainstorming session and identify a really compelling project or 2 for your organization to fund. And then pick 1 or 2 things, an email strategy, maybe a text blast, maybe a tweet blast. Maybe you send an email appeal and ask your current supporters to forward it to 10 people. All right, put together your budget and your plan, develop your materials, keep them glossy, throw in a video, go. Just press send. It's easy to correct typos, it's easy to have redos, it's not the cost of printing and of mailing and of printing. Evaluate your results, try again, and celebrate, because I think what you'll find is that in our communities, for persons with disabilities, online fundraising and online donations opens up a whole new opportunity for us to raise lots of money and lots of visibility, supporting all the things you've heard the speakers talk about today. So with that, I wish you a lot of luck and success in your online and digital efforts, and good luck to those athletes in the next 10 days. Thank you very much.